Hi, my name is Susha Shetty, and I'm a current graduate student at the University of Buffalo, majoring in Management Information Systems. So I'm going to be giving a brief 5 minutes presentation on the technology blockchain and its practical applications. So let's get started with the first question. What is blockchain? It's a collection of records which are linked with each other, strongly resistant to alteration, and are protected using cryptography. Basically, it's a chain of blocks that is used to transfer information. So the next question we'll be addressing it, how does the blockchain work? So basically, a user requests a transaction, and this transaction is considered as a block. Now, this block is sent to every node, that is every participant or people in the network, to verify the block. Once a block is verified and validated by the nodes, it is then added to the existing blockchain. And this update is then distributed across the network, and the transaction is then considered completed. Now, in order to understand the practical application of blockchain, let's consider a business challenge in today's world in the home purchase domain. Basically, when a person wants to buy a new home, there is no centralized system which has a complete record of who owned the assets throughout the asset's life cycle. Moreover, the person needs to provide a lot of proof and documentation multiple times to different entities involved in the house purchase scenario. Example, banks, realtors, lawyers. So a lot of coordination is required between the entities, which makes the process of house purchasing very tedious and time consuming. Now, this business scenario can be simplified using blockchain, where every entity can directly access the records from a centralized system, fastening the entire house purchasing process. In layman terms, it's a transformation of a network from a centralized trust authority to a decentralized independent network. Now, as we learn more about blockchain applications in a specific business scenario, let's try and analyze, if given a business scenario, what kind of questions should we ask which will help us to understand, should we be using blockchain or not? Because blockchain is actually not suited for every scenario. So the first question would be, do we need a middleman? No. Do you want to work with digital assets? Yes. Do you want to be working with multiple parties? Yes. Do you want a trustless environment? Yes. Do you need high performance? No. Does your requirement include large storage? No. Do you need shared write access? Yes. Do you need control over functionalities? Yes. Then go for a private blockchain. If no, do you want your transaction to be public? Yes. Then go for a public blockchain. Okay, now, when we know in what situation we should be using blockchain, let's learn something more about blockchain applications. Firstly, blockchain is constantly evolving, with the most recent version inclusive of smart contracts, which is basically a simple program stored in a blockchain used to exchange coins under a certain condition. It has applications of digital rights, wagers, and escrows. Secondly, comes digital currency, which is like Bitcoins, Ethereum, which has applications in private market and crowdfunding. Then comes record keeping, which is basically storing record at one place, making it easily accessible. Now, business scenarios when multiple entities in a network require access to the same record, blockchain will prove to be very efficient. Example, the patient electronic medical record in healthcare, property title records, voting, and intellectual property. Now, let's consider some of the use cases in order to understand better some blockchain applications in different domains. Starting with healthcare. Now, blockchain and drug traceability. In this situation, the manufacturer will produce the drug, and this drug will be marked as with a hash and then stored in the blockchain. Now, the manufacturer will send the drug to the wholesaler will send it to the pharmacist will actually send it to the customer. The transaction between each of these entities is stored in the blockchain, thereby enabling the drug traceability process to be, thereby making the drug traceability process extremely easy. Now, the second application will be blockchain in government services. Let's talk about the first business scenario, that is tax processing, where first the seller generates a GST invoice. Second, the buyer pays bills with GST invoice. And finally, the seller pays the supplier. So blockchain with smart contract in this scenario acts as a coordinator between entities and accordingly adjusts the tax calculation during the payment. So the final tax then goes to the government. So using blockchain, we can actually build a very reliable and efficient tax processing system, wherein the entire tax calculation can be automatically managed by smart contracts within blockchain. Then comes blockchain and KYC. Customers simply uploads their KYC documents in blockchain, and all entities such as banks, professional institutions can directly access KYC data from the blockchain, verifying the customer, easing the KYC process. Similarly, we can also implement this in the healthcare area, where we can have a patient medical record on a blockchain, which can be easily accessible by any healthcare provider. The next application would be blockchain in supply chain. Now, before blockchain, when an order was placed by a customer, the company's employee would actually accept the order and dispatch it to the shipping department. In the shipping department, there will be a shipping clerk who would pick the order and proceed to the shipment. Orders that get boxed and then shipped to the customer address. The customer would then provide feedback. So this is one of the traditional approach which is used for supply chain. So after blockchain, what blockchain has done is it has maintained a smart contract for the order supply chain where it matches the supplier, order invoice shipment, checks quality against the specification, updates inventory level, and pays supplier at multiple stages of the supply chain, making the supply chain process management system more efficient and less prone to delay and any kind of issues. Now, as we have learned a bit about the different applications of blockchain in the different domains, let's see about some real-world applications which currently exist. There is Pfizer, which is basically tracking records and managing the digital inventory of pharmaceutical products using blockchain. Walmart is using blockchain for product tracking. They're using the technology to track product movement from farmers to stores. Maersk Shipping. They're using the system to track movement of shipments between ports. United Healthcare, using blockchain technology to improve doctors' directories to enable accurate information claim filings. Then MetLife, they're using blockchain technology for storing patients' medical records for insurance purposes. So this was a gist about what blockchain is and what are some of the practical applications of blockchain. So by this time, you might have a slight idea of how blockchain can be used in different business scenarios and how you could potentially understand that in a given business scenario, should you be using blockchain for it? So thank you for your time, and that will be the end of the presentation.